how much price is that? If they sign him to a $30 million a year deal themselves, that puts them in jeopardy of even going to second apron, which every team in the league's trying to get out of right now. So I would just say the logic says that the best thing they could do is trade him. It's just that's the most complicated thing. So be ready for a lot of uncertainty for at least 3 or 4 days.
We always love the opportunity to sit with our good friend Tim Kawakami, SF Standard. Hey, Tim, what's going on today?
Not too much there. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Hey, can we run a little theory by you? Your former colleague Anthony Slater had quite an article on Jonathan Kuminga yesterday after spending some time with him in Cleveland and really hearing kind of his side of where he wants things to go. Do you buy the idea that the fact that we're seeing that article, the fact that it came out yesterday, kind of means that the first conversations between the Warriors and Kuminga haven't gone great?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it haven't gone great, but I don't think it's a total misread of the situation. I think Kuminga's camp is definitely trying to get that out, that, there's some differing things that maybe need to be ironed out should they even start talking long-term contract. But that's Dunleavy basically said that last week. Was it even earlier this week? I'm trying to get my day straight here. That they really haven't had those conversations, full start conversations, but they can't. This is such a multiple platform situation. Like, does he want to come back? What's the role? Does another team want to sign him? What are they going to offer him if they can't offer him the money outright because they're not that far under the cap? Only one team is. It's Brooklyn. If it's not Brooklyn, then they'd have to talk sign and trade with the Giants. And what would that number? There's so many different things. I think it's fair conclusion to say that very little of it has been, at least if you're saying, yes, he's going to re-sign with the Warriors, what steps do you have to take? Very little of that has taken place. Now, it could happen fast. I don't think it's kind of in the realm of Klay Thompson where both sides kind of had already talked and Klay was ready to go. I don't think they're that far down, but they're not, they're not negative ways down that road either. This is how it kind of, you get put together a complicated situation. Is you send out signals, you kind of have half starts, you have half conversations. I think we all pretty much agree that the likeliest, or maybe the most logical situation, if the Warriors can get something good back for them, is therefore to be a trade. But you have to kind of go down each one of these roads to really know where everyone is. And they're not down the road. So, yeah, I think sometimes I warn people, don't make too much of a leap in logic. I don't think I'm going to do that on this one for your general thesis. Not that things have been decided. It's that nothing's been decided. And usually at this point, if there's going to be a contract, it sounds different than this. But this thing has so many different parts to it that if they can't put together a sign and trade, then he might come back to the Warriors, at least temporarily. You got to put that in there too. And so John Kuminga on a long-term contract that everyone's happy forever and he's going to be the starting small forward. Now that is not going to happen, I wouldn't think. But there's 7 other ways this could go, and 2 of them are he comes back to the Warriors at least for a little while.
So as we look to go down this road, as you're talking about, what are the next steps to go down this road? Because I think we have to wait till June 30th, right, before he can field other offers. So are we just in a waiting period of them having 3 or 4 days to try to work this out?
Yeah, I mean, he could still go into June 30th and July 1st and talk to other teams and still come back to the Warriors. It's not all done. This is not Klay Thompson. It's not all going to be done. He's gone unless there's some great deal that's happening right now. But these conversations are happening informally anyway, even if they're not really supposed to. We know these things are discussed generally or obliquely or hypothetically before the chance to talk trade happens, June 30th. This is all, so many things have to be decided, and other teams have to figure out what they can get, what they can't get. And is Kuminga at the top of that list? Is he second? Is he third? Are they going to do the other 2 things, try to do the other 2 things, and then they come back to the Warriors if they can't do those 2 things? So it's not that far till June 30th. Is what I would say. That's not that far. It's we have to wait. No, it's not that much. Things are going to be figured out over the next 3-4 days, and then maybe even later than that. And I think that's just the way this generally is. The Kuminga comments are part of the whole kaleidoscope. And you just kind of, I don't think anybody's surprised that he's saying he wants to be an all-star, whether it's here or elsewhere. I don't think anybody's surprised. When Steve Kerr told me not too long ago that he couldn't imagine guaranteeing him a role because, there's a lot of other things at play here. It's just different pieces are moving around. June 30th is not very far away. July 1st is not very far away. But I will say, even then, it might not get all the way put together right on July 1st, maybe a little bit after that. But these are the things that we've kind of been understanding and knowing about this. It's just so many different things have to be agreed to before this can get done. I would caution, it's not going to happen in a flash, probably, unless some team just says, that's the guy we want. Here's what we can offer. Here's how we make it work money-wise. Again, that's complicated, too, because the Warriors can only take back 50% of a new deal unless it's a really low deal, and why would he take it if it's a low deal? All that still has to be hashed out. Probably not instantaneous on June 30th. Everyone's got different, things that they want, and that sometimes isn't the easiest thing to put together, even when we're used to all these deals being put together fast.
Tim, what I really start to wonder, because everyone has said Jonathan is the linchpin to whatever the Warriors can and will do next. If they do keep Jonathan, how do they tweak the roster and get better this offseason?
They can't do too much. They would have the taxpayer mid-level, which is $5.7 million, which is not a lot, but I don't know that they're really going to be able to go much higher anyway, even on a Kuminga deal. Again, even if he signs for 30 somewhere else, they can only take 15 back. They can only take 50% back. So it's not like they're shopping in the richest aisles. There is a way through various other pieces that they could go higher than that and money taken back if it involves Kuminga. But it takes a third team, a fourth team. Really, really complicated. Again, that could be done, but it's hard to do, and it's not something that I don't think they're going to announce on June 30th or would be able to even complete on June. Maybe they could. It's just very, very, very multi-layered. So, you're talking about or trading Moses Moody. Maybe fans don't want to hear that, but that's another thing they could do. Or trading Trey Jackson-Davis. Those are the other things that they can do. They can trade future draft picks, but again, to take salary back, you'd have to match it with your own salary. And the way the payroll is built, there's just not that many guys who have the right kind of salary numbers that you can get back the kind of players who make an 18, 20, which is, those are usually the players that can help you out as a sixth, seventh man. It gets complicated. There's not that many ways. Kuminga is the best way, but that brings its own complications. It's Kuminga and the future first-round picks, unless you want to put Moody in there, unless you want to put Pajemski in there, and I don't tend to think they don't want to. So, it's Kuminga, and so if they bring him back and it's at it's probably not going to be at a, huge number, and they do it to either trade him possibly in February or even wait a year through it, that's probably going to be the biggest piece they have is bringing back Kuminga. And that's why this all gets really, really, they have to judge what that means. They have to judge who that means. This is not something that's going to, again, it's being decided right. It's hard to decide that right now. They have to feel it out all different ways. And they could even go down a long road with Kuminga and say, this is what we want. We love you. This is this. They still have to figure out, well, how much, what price is that? If they sign them to a $30 million a year deal themselves, that puts them not just into deep in luxury, it puts them over the first apron. And it puts them in jeopardy of even going to second apron, which every team in the league is trying to get out of right now. So, I would just say the logic says he comes back. The logic says that the best thing they can do is trade him. It's just that's the most complicated thing. So be ready for a lot of uncertainty for at least three or 4 days.
Yeah, June 30th is 4 days away, and we're all kind of sitting on eggshells waiting for that to come about. If they don't trade him before then, and if no other team makes an offer for him as a restricted, what options does he have? What options do they have as far as, a sort of a minimum 1 year contract that they could tender him?
Yeah, $7.9 million is the qualifying offer. I imagine they're going to do that before June 29th, which is the deadline. They haven't done it yet as far as I know, but there's no way they're letting him go. If they don't make him that offer, he becomes an unrestricted free agent, and that's not going to happen. So at some point, he could just take that. It's not clearly not the money he wants. And then he becomes an unrestricted free agent next summer, no matter what. That is the power of that. He can control that part. He clearly does not want just a 1 year, $7.9 million. He wants a long-term deal right now, as we would all want. Don't risk another year. What if he gets hurt? What if things go wrong? I think that is, the middle ground on that is the Warriors offer him more than that. But it's more to their, they play the cards, maybe a 2-year deal with a team option. There's ways you could slide this around. But if he comes back to the Warriors, it is not likely to be for like 4 for 100. That's not what it's likely to be. It's much more likely to be 2 for 40 or, 3 for 60 with an option in there. There's a lot of different people going to yell at me about how it wouldn't be a team option. It more likely would be a player option. So don't aggregate that. I know people can't wait to aggregate it, but and you guys know how much I love that.
Oh yeah,
it's your favorite, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so many different little tripwires on this one. I just think Dunleavy's comments earlier this week, and I'm sure comments tonight after the pick, and comments from Kuminga only illustrate it further. Again, I painted against the Clay situation, which was obviously not a good situation, but that thing was clarified. Like that thing, he was leaving. That was happening. Nothing more had to be hashed out. Just the deal, just the terms of the deal of when he was moving out. This is not quite there because there's just other things in play. He's not unrestricted. They're not able to get back to full value of his contract and salaries coming back. They aren't sure what his market is right now. I think there's some teams that would take him, but then we have to figure like Miami, Slater reported, and others so that's a team that could have some interest in him that didn't get Durant. They could use a player like that, but then they can't take him and then only give back half the salary. They're over the cap. So how do they work? They would have to get a third team involved if it's a contract like in the $28-25 million range. How do you do that? Who are they going to give up? I can't really see a ton of players on that roster. The Warriors want Jaime Jaquez would be the one, and I don't think Miami would trade Jaime Jaquez for Jonathan Kuminga, right? Like you just get into that's the whole process you have to go through. And then the third team's going to want something. Will the Warriors throw something in to incentivize it? Does Miami throw something in to incentivize it? There's just so many little things you have to check off that I don't know that like you can do it all at once. It can be really fast. Tends to me just talking through this that these things it's going to take longer than just one day to figure it out. And then I don't even know if they've got one of the boxes checked yet. It's just so many different representatives, so many different agendas, so many different wants and needs through all these different things that, again, the best thing for the Warriors is to trade him. I would say that. You can aggregate me on that one.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean it's going to happen. The best thing for them is that the other teams and John Kuminga don't need to worry about what's the best thing for the Warriors. They need to worry about what's the best thing